a lot of people want to start businesses, but they are not sure of which one to go with. Some want to do crop farming, others want to do piggery, others want to do goats, others want to do cattle, others want to do what we call the poultry birds. And I think this is going to be a versus episode whereby we are going to be talking about poultry farming versus crop farming, poultry farming versus animal like goats versus broilers, goats versus layers. So if you don't want to miss these videos or these episodes, I kindly beg you to subscribe to the channel. That way you'll be notified immediately I drop any video on the channel. Sometimes when you sit down and then think about of a business which you want to start, at some point you may think about poultry farming, doing layers, broilers, or the local chicken, but you are not yet certain or you are not sure on which one you should go with. Well, in this particular video, we are going to be talking about broilers, layers, and then the local chicken. So I think after this video, you will make up your mind on which one you can start with as far as poultry farming is concerned. So the topic is broilers versus layers versus the local chicken. Let's go. Broilers, these are birds that are kept for meat, and they usually take a maximum of 2 months for them to be ready for sale. And then when it comes to layers, these birds are specifically kept to lay eggs. And they start laying at around 18 weeks to 19 weeks. That's when they start to drop an egg. And the moment they start to lay, they will lay up to 90 weeks. That's when they will be giving you eggs every day. And then when it comes to the local chicken, they are purposely kept for meat and then for eggs. But most especially people keep them for meat and they don't like the eggs. But when you go to the market, the prices of the eggs of the local chicken are way more higher than the price of the layer eggs. So basically, that's a brief definition of the local chicken, the broilers, and then the layers. Number one, let's start with the brooding of the broilers. When it comes to the brooding, broilers are actually brooded for a maximum of 2 weeks. That's when they are done, completely done with the brooding. That's when they are finally put on their feathers, which can help them to actually regulate the warmth, stuff like that. And then when it comes to the local chicken, these birds take a maximum of 1 month. Yeah, 1 month, that's when they will be done with the brooding, because they actually tend to grow very slow compared to the broilers. The same applies to the layers. The layers also take a maximum of 28 days to 1 month. That's when they are actually completely done with the brooding. At this point, when we come to actually take a number from D3, you will find that the broilers, they will take a number on the brooding because they are only brooded for 2 weeks. That's 14 days. They are done, meaning that you will not incur the costs which you will incur like in the local chicken or in the layers, especially like the brooding materials, which is the charcoal or any other source of heat, and all those stuffs that you will, of course, engage yourself in during the brooding process. And then number two, when it comes to the structure of these birds, let's start with the broilers. Broilers, you must construct a structure whereby it is a little bit, expensive, because you would actually have a house whereby it cannot allow rain inside, whereby the aeration is very, very perfect. And then the same apply to the layers. The structures of these birds are all the same and they are expensive, very expensive. But when you come to the local chicken, anywhere they can stay. They can stay anywhere. They can stay on trees. You actually don't need to spend more money on actually building a house for them. Like for instance, let me first try to show you the house which I actually built for the local chicken. Take a look. Very simple, very, very simple. But when it comes to the broilers and then the layers, it is a little bit hard, You have to cement the floor. Like for instance, mine over here, there is no litter, there is no cement on the ground, only patches. You can take a look at the patches where the birds rest. But with the broilers and then the layers, the birds stay on the ground. So you will find that on the structure, the local birds are having a point over there. The next one is the market. Like I said earlier before, when it comes to the market of these products or these birds, like for instance, let me start with the broilers. I've seen some poultry farmers doing 30 days. The bird has already gained its market weight, which that farmer requires. So after 2 months, you will be done with the broilers. And then when it comes to layers, guys, you will keep the layer birds for at least 4.5 months without getting anything from them. And then the moment they start to drop an egg, that's probably on the 18th to 19 weeks. That's when you will start seeing an egg. They will lay for up to 90 weeks, meaning that you will actually be getting eggs every day the moment they start to lay. But before they start to lay, you must be ready to keep them for 4.5 months without getting anything, meaning that you will be investing money day in, day out for 4.5 months. And then when we jump to the local chicken, these birds grow very, very slow. However much you give them feeds, they grow very slow because the rate at which they convert the feeds into building their body is very, very low. So they will take actually a minimum of 6 to 7 months for the bird to be ready to be eaten as meat or to start giving you an egg. So that's with the local chicken. And then when it comes to the market, the marketability of all these birds, you will find that broilers, of course, they are marketable because people eat chicken everywhere, every day. So the moment you actually produce the broilers, you will have the market ready. And then come to the layers, people eat eggs. Yeah, people eat eggs like nothing. Every day, people eat eggs. And then when you come to the local chicken, I think local chicken is very, very marketable compared to the broilers. When it comes to the meat of the local chicken is very nutritious compared to the broiler meat. That's why you find the prices very, very high, very high. And at some point, a broiler bird can be at 10,000 Ugandan shillings, but a local chicken can be up to 40,000 Ugandan shillings. So you can see that the prices are also different, meaning that the market for the local chicken is very, very high compared to all these kind of birds. So yeah, it takes another point over there. That's the local chicken. Another point is that when it comes to the vaccination of these birds, broilers, and then the layers, you must vaccinate them, guys. You must vaccinate them because these birds are very weak when it comes to diseases. But when it comes to the local chicken, I've seen, like in my area over here, people don't vaccinate birds. They never. But guess what? The birds even don't die. They don't die. So the moment you try to vaccinate them, I think they can stay up to 10 years plus without even dying. So over here, we are not going to talk much. Local birds have a point over there, over the layers and then the broilers when it comes to the vaccination of these birds. Because at some point, let me tell you that the moment you actually skip a vaccination schedule whereby you have to vaccinate the broilers or the layers, the moment a disease breaks out, be ready to lose your birds. And the worst thing about these birds is that when a disease breaks out, they die in large numbers. After a day or two, you will find yourself losing almost 500 up to 1,000 birds just within 2 days. So you will find that these birds are very weak, so you must vaccinate them as required. And then the next one, which is very, very important, is when it comes to the money investment in these 3 types of birds. Yeah, how much you need to invest in these kinds of birds. Let me tell you, let me start with the broilers. With the broilers, let me start with the price of a day-old chick. A day-old chick actually costs around 2,500 Ugandan shillings. That's less than $1. And then a layer chicken costs around 3,500 to 4,000, even sometimes 5,000. That's one chick, 1 day old chick layer bird. You will find that the broilers are less cheap compared to the layers. And then when it comes to the local chicken, of course, I've not seen anybody selling day old chicks for the local chickens, never. But they actually sell them very high when it comes to the prices, very high compared to all these types of birds. So the moment you want to start a farm of very many birds, you must also consider this. How many birds do I want to start with, and how much am I going to be spending on 1 day old chick? That way you will understand how much you will be spending on the birds that you want to bring into your poultry farm. And then still also on the cost or the money that you will be spending, these broilers, you have to actually buy feeds for them. Yeah, you need to buy feeds for them and then give them feeds every day for the period of time where you want to keep them on your farm. The same apply to the layers. Layers also, you must actually feed them every day the required feeds which they need. And at some point, these feeds, you must buy them. We have the ready-made feeds, and then you can actually source your materials and then make your own feeds. So you will find that you have to spend more money in these two types of birds, the broilers and then the layers. So when we jump to the local chicken, you will find that without the feeds, these birds can stay. No need to give them the feeds, no need to give them the water, because these birds are now, they are actually specifically made for that kind of life. The moment you actually don't give them the feeds, they are okay. You give them the feeds, they are still fine. Because they'll roam around, scratch the ground, eat the grass, look for the termites, stuff like that. They are okay. So you don't have even to spend money on keeping these types of birds. So over there, local birds still getting a point. Another one is the resistance to diseases. This point is very important because the moment you want to start something, you must understand how the thing is resistant to diseases. The moment you want to start a goat's farm, how is the goat's resistance to diseases in your area? So when it comes to the local birds, these birds are very resistant to diseases. Very resistant. At some point, you can see a bird having flu. Yeah, having flu, but all of a sudden, the flu will go away by itself, even without treating it. So you can find that these birds are very, very hard. But with the layers or broilers, layers are a little bit harder, but with the broilers, no, the birds are super weak. Super weak. Very, very weak. So in terms of resistance to diseases, local birds, get your points. Before we go to the last one, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, you are doing a lot of mistakes. In fact, the mistake is very huge. Kindly subscribe to the channel, and if you like the video, give it a like. Less than a second, click that like button and it will be done. And don't forget to comment if you have any question, and of course share the video to your beloved ones so that they can also get an information from this video. The last one is that in every business that you want to go to start, there are other businesses which require skills. Yeah. And when we talk about the skills in the local birds, layers, and then the broilers, you will find that without skills, you cannot manage broilers. Without skills, you cannot manage the layers. In fact, they actually need a little bit of skill for you to keep the birds, Like how much feed should you give your birds if it is a layer, one layer bird? How much grams of feeds are you supposed to give this layer bird, even at different stages? You can see that the skills needed over there, they're a little bit more. With the broilers and then the layers, the skills, they are actually needed. You must have the skills for you to keep these birds. But when it comes to the local birds, even without skills, you can take care of these birds perfectly, 100% perfectly. So I think over there, local birds are still grabbing a point. Thanks for watching, and we still have a lot of videos which are still coming just for you. So get tuned to the channel by subscribing, and yeah, see you in my next video. Bye.